So even before the coronavirus crisis and the attendant economic fallout, we've been talking about a retail apocalypse, stores, longtime stores, large stores, closing up shop, filing for bankruptcy, etc. Well, there's a new analysis, and we can throw this tweet up on the screen, that shows that out of the coronavirus crisis, 100,000 stores could close. Online share of retail is going to go from 15 to 25%. And surprise, surprise, the big guys are only going to get bigger. We're talking Walmart, we're talking Target, Costco, Amazon, etc. Obvious winners. And this is a massive shift in the American landscape, both in terms of our consumer habits, where our wealth goes, how concentrated that is in certain entities and human beings, this is a dynamic too that's so important that you see really clearly with Walmart. The way that when you are dealing with big retailers versus small businesses, the wealth gets sucked out of your local community to certain concentrated areas. And that was a dynamic that was in place before this crisis. What this report says, something we predicted and expected, frankly, given the nature of the pathetic, inadequate, overwhelmingly favoring the big guys response, this is only going to hasten that decline in small business.
Yeah, this is what I talked about a lot in the early days of the bailout, which is that what the bailout was more than anything. It was a bridge loan. It was like bridge loan to big corporations saying, we will get you through the hard period with as much as you possibly need, and we'll get you to the good times back. But by not giving a bridge loan both to workers and to small businesses, or the bridge loan known as the Paycheck Protection Program, constantly having caps and all these other issues that are not working out for them, then this is the environment that you create, which is that you have 100,000 stores that are going to close, millions upon millions of businesses that are going to be in states of distress, easily able to be gobbled up by the big guys. We can cover, and we're going to expect, this is something that antitrust experts expect, is that there's going to be mass consolidation in our economy, and there's going to be roll-ups. And what roll-ups are is whenever there's distressed companies, a private equity firm or whomever buys like 6 of them, they all do the same business. They offshore half the workforce, or fire as much as they can, roll it all up into one company and either sell it or they make it profitable, but not particularly good for everybody except for the individual shareholders and for consumer price. We can expect that across the entire economy. Retail is already a distressed sector, right? 100,000 stores closing, that's a disaster. And like you said, when you don't have this, there's no dynamism in the economy. There's no connection to community, and it just keeps flowing dollars towards the people who already have immense power in our society, like Amazon. Amazon is going to be a $2 trillion company, I'm convinced, whenever this entire thing is over. Walmart, Target, Costco, the collective bargaining that they get to take on vis-a-vis their workers, and worse with governments, like with our own government, having to negotiate.
Look at that bidding war for the Amazon age, where every city in the country was like giving up the store,
like bending over backwards,
completely.
In order to be, please throw your largesse.
Get your low-paid jobs here.
I don't blame the governments for doing that. They're like all captive within like a prisoner dilemma.
They have no other option.
Exactly, and so this is just going to play out even more and more and more across the economy. More financialization, more consolidation, and that just leaves less power for the workforce, and it leaves less. Real bad thing is, it's all a con, because the con is that they're like, but it's good for the consumer, and it's not good for the consumer if you're not also getting paid. Right? Like if you have no money to spend, or your wages have been stagnant for 30 years, that's bad for a consumer economy. But the price is 1.25 cents or whatever. Can't resist. Yeah, that's just something that we have to be so weary of. But look, it's going to happen.
Something a candidate I used to work with, Richard Ojeda from West Virginia, used to always say that I thought, just put it really succinctly, is like most of these towns, the only place to work is Walmart and Wendy's. Yeah. Right? And that says it all, because it's like, low paid work, right? It means that money that consumers are spending in those stores, that's not staying locally in the community. It's some anonymous, major retailer. That wealth is being sucked down. And to your point, look, if those are your only 2 options as workers, and we're sort of like generalizing here, but those are your only options, if you only have a few options, that means you have no power, because you have very little choice in the situation. And that's the dynamic here. They say that clothing, electronics, and home furnishing stores are going to be affected the most. The other thing that I can say, having lived in an industrial Midwestern town that the downtown had been decimated, this town is called East Liverpool, Ohio, where I used to live. It used to be like the pottery capital of the world. All the dishes and plates and everything were made there. Great source of local pride. The high school is still known as the Potters. That all sort of went overseas in the 50s to China. And then there was a steel mill in the next town over that had all these good middle class union jobs where you could, earn a living and you weren't rich, but you were fine, right? That has also basically gone completely away, and you're left with this hollowed out core. Now that does real things, obviously, to people's economic situation, but it's also just like this visual decay in your town that we've seen in main streets, of course, across America. And what a report like this indicates is that sort of core decline that we've witnessed over years is now going to be creeping out increasingly into the suburbs.
Yeah.
So the suburbs with the big box stores and all of that, many of them are also not going to survive. If you're not Walmart, if you're not Amazon, if you're not Costco, if you're not a few of the big player winners, we're not even talking about like the little guys, but the sort of mid-tier big box stores and those sorts of things, a lot of them are going to be going under too.
Yeah, they certainly are. I mean, we're going to see, this is going to be a new America that we're going to live in. We're going to live in a new country, essentially, in the terms of our economy. And these, again, this is what I covered yesterday. This is a choice. All of this is a discrete policy choice. They've decided to let the economy continue this way, and we're going to have to reckon with that for decades now.
Yes, that's exactly right. They did it fast. They did it with so little transparency. Everyone in this town, everyone in this town basically went right along with it. Yep. They tied the $4 trillion for the big guys along with the scraps for everybody else, so that if you stood in the way and said, maybe we shouldn't be giving $4 trillion to people who are doing okay already, then you'd be, you can't hold up the aid why do you hate workers and you hate small business? They tied it together intentionally. Everyone went along. That choice was made, and this is some of the impact, some of the fallout that you can expect in the future.
Right.
We're going to have more Rising for you after this.